Listen closely. What I'm about to share will completely transform your understanding of what it truly means to be an intuitive introvert. Most people walking around today believe that personality types are just harmless categories, little boxes that help us understand ourselves better. They're wrong, dangerously wrong. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who first mapped the human psyche, didn't create his theories about introverted intuition as a feel-good personality test. He was issuing a warning, a prediction so dark, so unsettling, that modern psychology has sanitized it beyond recognition. Jung saw something terrifying in the intuitive introvert's future, a fate that awaits those who possess this rare combination of traits. You see, Jung understood that intuitive introverts aren't just quiet people who like ideas. They're something far more dangerous to the established order. They're the ones who see through the illusions that keep society functioning. They're the prophets, the visionaries, the uncomfortable truth-tellers who threaten the very foundations of collective delusion. But here's what Jung discovered that will chill you to the bone. This gift comes with a curse. A psychological trap so sophisticated, so perfectly designed, that most intuitive introverts never escape it. They live their entire lives sensing something profound about reality, yet remain powerless to act on their insights. They become prisoners of their own perception. If you've ever felt like you see things others miss, if you've ever been called too sensitive or impractical, if you've ever wondered why your mind works so differently from everyone around you, then you need to hear this. Because continuing to ignore Jung's warning will cost you everything that matters. Your potential, your purpose, your very soul. The comfortable lies you've been told about being an intuitive introvert are about to crumble. What emerges from the ruins will either liberate you or destroy you. There is no middle ground. Most people will turn away from what I'm about to reveal. They'll retreat into the safety of personality quizzes and self-help platitudes. But you're not most people, are you? You're here because some part of you already knows that something is terribly wrong with the story you've been told about yourself. Jung's prediction isn't just coming true, it's accelerating, and time is running out. Here's the first uncomfortable truth that society desperately wants to hide from you. Your intuitive introversion isn't a personality quirk. It's an evolutionary anomaly that marks you as fundamentally incompatible with modern civilization. Think about this carefully. Evolution doesn't create traits randomly. Every aspect of human psychology exists because it once provided a survival advantage. But intuitive introversion, it's a relic from a different world entirely. You're carrying the psychological blueprint of humanity's shamans, mystics, and seers, roles that have been systematically eliminated from modern society. Jung understood this. He wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But he also knew that for intuitive introverts, becoming who you truly are means accepting that you're a stranger in your own time. You're wired for a world that no longer exists. Your brain literally processes reality differently than 95% of the population. While others focus on concrete details and immediate sensory input, you're constantly scanning for patterns, meanings, and future possibilities. You see the forest while everyone else argues about individual trees. This isn't just a different perspective, it's a different form of consciousness entirely. But here's where it gets sinister. Modern society has learned to exploit this difference. They've convinced you that your natural way of being is somehow deficient, too quiet, too deep, too impractical. They've taught you to apologize for the very traits that once made your ancestors the most valuable members of their communities. Do you see what's happening? You're being systematically conditioned to suppress your greatest strengths. Every time someone tells you to be more social, focus on practical matters, or stop overthinking, they're participating in a collective gaslighting campaign designed to neutralize your power. The ancient Greeks had a word for people like you. Daimonian, those touched by divine madness, blessed with the ability to see beyond the veil of ordinary perception. But divine madness doesn't fit neatly into corporate structures or social media algorithms, does it? Jung observed that everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But for intuitive introverts, the reverse is also true. Everything that irritates others about you reveals their own psychological limitations. Your mere existence challenges their comfortable assumptions about reality. This is why you've always felt like an outsider, not because there's something wrong with you, but because there's something fundamentally different about how your mind interfaces with reality. You're not broken, you're incompatible. And that incompatibility is about to become your greatest liability. Now, we arrive at where it gets truly dangerous. The second truth Jung discovered will shake you to your core. Modern systems don't just misunderstand intuitive introverts, they actively hunt them down and neutralize them before they can fulfill their potential. Pay close attention to this pattern. Throughout history, every major shift in human consciousness has been initiated by intuitive introverts. Buddha, Jesus, Newton, Tesla, Jung himself. These weren't extroverted leaders rallying crowds. They were solitary visionaries who spent years in contemplation before emerging with insights that changed everything. But here's what's terrifying. Our current system has become incredibly sophisticated at identifying and suppressing these individuals before they can reach their full power. It's not a conscious conspiracy. It's something far more insidious. It's a self-preserving mechanism built into the fabric of modern civilization. Think about your own life. How many times have you had a profound insight only to be dismissed as unrealistic or too theoretical? How many times have you seen solutions to problems that others couldn't grasp, only to watch those same problems persist because no one would listen? How many times have you felt the weight of unused potential crushing down on you? This isn't a coincidence. This is the system working exactly as designed. Educational institutions reward conformity and punish original thinking. Corporate structures promote those who follow established procedures, not those who question fundamental assumptions. Social media algorithms amplify shallow content while burying deep insights. Dating apps favor quick judgments over meaningful connections. Every aspect of modern life is optimized for the extroverted sensor, the person who thrives on immediate stimulation, surface-level interaction, and conventional thinking. You, the intuitive introvert, are swimming against a current so powerful that most of your kind never even realize they're drowning. Jung warned us, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But for intuitive introverts, complete self-acceptance means acknowledging that you're fundamentally at odds with the world around you. It means accepting that your natural gifts, depth, insight, pattern recognition, future thinking, are not just undervalued but actively suppressed. Here's the dichotomy that will determine your fate. There are those who recognize this reality and learn to navigate it strategically, and there are those who remain in denial, constantly trying to fit into a system designed to reject them. The first group becomes the hidden architects of human progress, working behind the scenes, influencing ideas rather than charisma, creating lasting change through patient cultivation of their insights. The second group becomes the walking wounded, brilliant minds trapped in lives of quiet desperation, their potential slowly suffocating under the weight of societal expectations. Which group do you belong to? More importantly, which group do you choose to belong to? Because make no mistake, this is a choice, and the window for making it is rapidly closing. Here comes the most challenging truth of all, the one that will either liberate you or crush you completely. Are you ready? The reason most intuitive introverts never escape their psychological prison isn't because of external oppression. It's because they're addicted to their own suffering. Let that sink in. You've been blaming society, blaming extroverts, blaming the system for your struggles. But Jung discovered something far more disturbing. Intuitive introverts often unconsciously choose victimhood because it feels more comfortable than claiming their true power. Your brain is wired to see patterns and possibilities, but it's also wired to anticipate problems and imagine worst-case scenarios. This hypervigilant pattern recognition, which should be your greatest strength, becomes a self-sabotaging mechanism when turned inward. You become so good at seeing what could go wrong that you paralyze yourself before you even begin. Think about it honestly. How many opportunities have you talked yourself out of? How many times have you seen exactly what needed to be done but convinced yourself you weren't ready, weren't qualified, weren't enough? How many times have you used your introversion as an excuse to avoid the very challenges that would unlock your potential? This is the psychological trap Jung warned about. Your gift of seeing beyond surface appearances includes seeing your own limitations with brutal clarity. But instead of using this insight to transcend those limitations, you use it to justify staying small. There's a hidden test happening beneath the surface of every intuitive introvert's life. The universe, or whatever force shapes human destiny, presents you with a series of increasingly difficult challenges designed to force you out of your comfort zone. These aren't random obstacles. They're precisely calibrated invitations to step into your power. But here's the cruel irony. The very sensitivity that makes you capable of profound insight also makes you more likely to retreat when faced with these challenges. You feel the weight of responsibility more acutely than others. You see the potential consequences more clearly. You understand the magnitude of what's at stake. So you hesitate, you overthink, you wait for perfect conditions that will never come. And while you're waiting, your window of opportunity slowly closes. Jung observed that your vision becomes clear when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. But awakening isn't a gentle process for intuitive introverts. It's a violent shattering of comfortable illusions about yourself. The biological mechanism at work here is both elegant and ruthless. Your nervous system, evolved for a different world, interprets the modern environment as constantly threatening. This keeps you in a state of chronic hypervigilance that masquerades as wisdom, but is actually fear wearing a sophisticated disguise. Every time you choose safety over growth, every time you choose comfort over challenge, every time you choose the familiar over the unknown, you're reinforcing neural pathways that make the next choice even easier. You're literally rewiring your brain for mediocrity. And here's the most terrifying part. This process accelerates with age. The longer you wait to break free, the more entrenched these patterns become. Jung's prediction wasn't just about what would happen to intuitive introverts. It was about when it would become irreversible. The evidence is all around you. Look at the intuitive introverts in your life who are 10, 20, 30 years older than you. How many of them are living up to their potential? How many of them are still talking about what they're going to do someday? How many of them have that look in their eyes? The look of someone who knows they've let their life slip away. That's your future if you don't act. Not might be, will be. But here's the ultimate truth that changes everything. Your imprisonment is also your liberation. The very traits that make you vulnerable to psychological entrapment are the same traits that, when properly channeled, make you capable of transcending ordinary human limitations. Jung's terrifying prediction wasn't meant to condemn you. It was meant to wake you up. He saw that intuitive introverts would face a choice in the modern world. Surrender to the system and live as shadows of themselves, or embrace their true nature and become something unprecedented in human history. You are not meant to fit in. You are meant to stand apart. You are not meant to follow the crowd. You are meant to see where the crowd is heading and offer a different path. You are not meant to seek external validation. You are meant to become so aligned with your inner truth that external opinions become irrelevant. Here's the 5 foundational elements of freedom tailored for the enlightened and intuitive introvert. 1. Embrace radical solitude. Stop apologizing for needing time alone. Your solitude isn't antisocial. It's where you access the deeper currents of reality that others can't perceive. Schedule it, protect it, treat it as sacred. This is where your real work happens. 2. Trust your pattern recognition above all else. Your intuition isn't just a feeling. It's a sophisticated information processing system that operates below conscious awareness. When something feels off, it usually is. When you sense an opportunity others miss, act on it. Your pattern recognition is more accurate than most people's logical analysis. 3. Develop strategic patience. You operate on a different timeline than the rest of the world. Your ideas need time to gestate. Your insights need time to mature. Stop trying to force yourself into other people's rhythms. Play the long game. Think in decades, not quarters. 4. Create from overflow, not obligation. Your creative output should emerge from the abundance of your inner life, not from external pressure to produce. When you're truly aligned with your nature, creation becomes effortless. When you're forcing it, you're betraying yourself. 5. Accept your role as cultural translator. You see things others can't see, but you also have the responsibility to translate those insights into forms others can understand. This is your service to humanity, bridging the gap between what is and what could be. The path forward isn't about changing who you are. It's about becoming more of who you are. It's about recognizing that your sensitivity is strength, your depth is wisdom, and your differentness is exactly what the world needs. Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But he also understood that for intuitive introverts, this becoming requires a kind of courage that most people never develop. It requires the courage to stand alone when everyone else is following the crowd. It requires the courage to trust your inner voice when external voices are louder. It requires the courage to build something meaningful rather than just consuming what others have built. You stand at a crossroads. Down one path lies the comfortable mediocrity of fitting in, playing small, and living as a diluted version of yourself. Down the other path lies the terrifying magnificence of your full potential, a life lived in alignment with your deepest nature, regardless of what others think or expect. Most people will choose the first path. They'll rationalize it, justify it, make it sound reasonable. But you're not most people. You never were. You never will be. The question isn't whether you're capable of greatness. Jung already answered that. The question is whether you're brave enough to claim it. Your future isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create, one choice at a time, starting right now. The age of the intuitive introvert is coming. The question is, will you be ready to lead it, or will you be another casualty of your own unrealized potential? Choose wisely. Choose now. Choose yourself. Because the world is waiting for what only you can give it, and time is running out.